All right, guys, what a day. What a day, and what a day in Lincoln, Nebraska. I released a video earlier about Tony White, and he's taken with him the defensive line coach, Terrance Knighton. And Terrance Knighton, he's just like Evan Cooper. He's had a long-time relationship with Matt Rule. He played under Matt Rule at Temple, and then he joined Matt Rule in Carolina as the defensive line coach for the Carolina Panthers. And then at Nebraska, I mean, he worked with the Polar Bear, Nash Huttenmacher. He also worked with Ty Robinson. So the Polar Bear is a nickname from the Nick Bob podcast. So when you look at Terrance, man, like, that unit is elite. That defensive line unit, with Ty, even James Williams, who barely played any football, who came from a community college, like, he's a real talent. So Terrance Knighton really finds talent. This whole defensive staff is getting a complete turnover. So today was a tough day. And then, Garrett Mcguire, they decide to dismiss Garrett. And, I mean, just the wide receiver position, unfortunately for Garrett, like, it just hasn't been very good. Like Banks, Isaiah Nayor, like, they just haven't really clicked. And he's very young. And they took a chance on Garrett, and again, he's a good guy. His dad is highly successful, great guy as well. So it's tough to see him, lose his gig at Nebraska, but I believe that there's still an incredibly bright future for Garrett Mcguire down the line. But really, Dana Holgerson and this offensive staff is going to look like a Dana Holgerson offense. And, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Marcus Satterfield and see what happens now with this entire coaching staff and this entire coaching unit. Boy, oh boy, it's interesting. It's interesting at Nebraska, but Dana Holgerson's going to stay. And that's the great news for Matt Rule in Nebraska, is that today they lock up Dana long-term, and Dana's going to get a chance to work with the offense. Of course, I really believe that Dominic Raiola is going to stay on as the offensive line coach. We're going to see what happens with Barfold, who coaches the running backs, and we're going to see about this entire defensive staff. We're going to see about, I guess it's Jon Snow. Jon Snow's in Game of Thrones, but it's Phil Snow. Also, there was an Eric Snow who played basketball for the 76ers, but it's going to be Phil Snow could come in there as a veteran voice for this defense. So Matt Rule, this is the one thing, if you're Nebraska, you got to say, all right, Dana's rocking with this offense, got Dylan Raiola, going to maybe flip Cortez, Mills, like, going to have some really exciting receivers to throw the football to. The bad news, I guess, is defensively, and you worry about, Jamari Butler already put his name in the portal, so you worry about retaining defensive players. So I know that there's wild, movement, the instability at Nebraska. Where are all the dominoes going to land, or where when the dust settles, I guess we can say, is what's going to happen now with Lincoln, Nebraska? What's going to happen with this football team? And the Tony White thing totally caught me off guard. I know that some people in the know were talking about it. And then apparently after the Indiana game, Phil Snow, after that UCLA debacle, Phil Snow came in there, and Tony White didn't feel that comfortable with his role on defense. But now Terrance Knighton going off, leaving Matt Rule. This is a longtime Matt Rule disciple. Evan Cooper, who was an assistant coach, had to leave in the summer. So defensive staff-wise, it's just been absolute chaos everywhere. Offensively, it has been too. I mean, you install an offensive coordinator in Dana Holgerson. So as I illustrated earlier, like, a ton of moving pieces, and we're going to have to see where all of this ends up. If I were Matt Rule, I mean, are you going to roll with, maybe go 4-3 and maybe go with Phil Snow? Like, that might be, I think, what you do. I think that you go back to your roots of playing defense, and I think it could be fairly exciting for Matt Rule in that way. And he's going to make it his show. They're 6-6, and I mean, we'll see. I mean, Coach Foley's been with him a very long time, and He's a good guy too, but the special teams, man, it's just it's tough. It's tough what's going on with special teams. We're going to see what ends up happening. I'm sure that with Garrett Mcguire, it's awkward, but had to be done. All righty, guys. Wild stuff at Nebraska. A couple of guys are out at Nebraska, a couple in. It's just been a crazy day in Lincoln today. All right. Thank you guys for watching.